Also did a recent communist Japanese game, but that ended badly. Nothing bad happened! Everything went exactly according to plan. So it looks like the civil war in China is actually kind of dragged down. I wonder if this is on purpose, whether both sides are just trying to grind experience, or whether they're just really well balanced at the moment. Like, I'd be expecting a lot of attacks against Hangzhou to try and trap these two over here. Yeah, they're trying to hit into that province, probably to try and save Hangzhou as well. And one thing we can do is click around to these guys and just see how much experience they're getting. So you got 2, you got 10, 54 for Italy, blimey. 4, 5, 6. How the hell did Italy get so much? They must have been doing focuses. German-East Asia just declared war on the Indo-Chinese Union. So this is the German-East Asian Civil War. And again, I wonder if anyone's going to try and support them. They're not allowed to, are they? No, Germany cannot get involved, so I don't think anyone can send volunteers to that. Indochina declares independence after the Welsh Creek. Germany seized French Indochina, but stability wasn't restored until Germany crushed the South China Revolutionaries in 1926. Meanwhile, back in Anqing. I don't know why. Anqing has kind of got that similar reputation for me as Austria. I don't like playing them because of how much damage they did to me in my early games. So, League of 8 Provinces, Anqing was really freaking dangerous. Because if they declared war, then you were basically at war on like 3 different fronts from the start. And Anqing is a will they, won't they kind of deal. And of course, in my first game as League of 8 Provinces, they did. Can't remember. Did I ever play as Anqing? Not sure. Let's have a look at the focus tree. I can't remember if I ever played as Anqing. I don't think I did. No, I don't think I did. Who's the one that's like all about progress? That's Shangzi? Yeah, Yan Jishan. One day I need to play as Shangzi. I don't think I ever did either. And I also need to play as Legation Cities. I don't think I played them since they got their rework. Because Legation Cities before the rework was one of the most boring playthroughs I've ever done. It was horrible. Playing with the triads and stuff like that, I just didn't enjoy it. Played as Italy, I know the basics. How can you counter best subs with cheap escorts or expensive escorts? I mean, it really depends. Cheap escorts are cheap, but you won't sink any of the submarines, but you might be able to protect your shipping. Whereas if you use the expensive escorts, then you will actually be an active counter to those submarines. But your shipping may not have as good coverage. It really depends what outcome you want and how much you want to invest. There are streamers in all of the 3 heats. Yes, that is true. I wonder if there's a document somewhere where all the stream perspectives are listed. I think there is. Give me just a second. Yeah, there is. Okay, so this is one of the things that I forgot to add, so I'm going to add another command, which is going to be kr details for general info on the tournament and also a list of streamers. Check this. There you go. So you can get a list of all of the other perspectives, and you'll see that there are actually a couple of people brought in to do the observers, like I am myself at the moment. As soon as I can find that list again. So I am doing Group B, Midgeman is doing Group A, Grishna, Putin, and that guy from college are doing Group C, but they're both playing, they're not an observer. Theresa May, if you want to see Canada's perspective, is doing Group B. That's ours. And then Kaiserreich Weekly is observing Group D. So there you go. There are indeed different people doing the different perspectives for the different groups. I had a question, would Japan be different if you went with the 39 start instead of the 37? I don't think so. Why can't Germany get involved? Because co-pro players are in the rebellion? No, it's just a set rule because this is a colonial issue. Germany can do Lend-Lease. They're doing the really gamey just... no, they're not. They're sending 3,000. Wait, did they rename their equipment? Excusez-moi KFC and KFC I'm sorry. I didn't even realise you could do that. Interesting. Huh. So yeah, they are indeed sending Lend-Lease to Germany East Asia to try to help them bolster against Indochina, but they can't send volunteers. I think that's what's locked out. You can't send volunteers to a colonial conflict. How exactly that's programmed and how exactly that's determined versus like the Chinese Civil War, I don't know. I just know that's an in-game rule. It's not a tournament rule. Zhongzi is kind of a rough spot. Never got fully reworked during the China rework since his death left shortly before the release. Oh, okay. Because I do remember reading about the various warlords and being like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. And Zhongzi was one of them. I think the ones that I really, really liked is League of Eight Provinces, obviously. I just have a massive soft spot for them. Qing government is pretty good because it can form the Empire of China, and then Zhongzi. The ones I've never played as and just never really appealed is like Ma Clique, Kumul Khanate, Xinjiang Clique. Just never did it for me. I know Jishuan and Yunnan have a fight against each other. Left Koandang I should probably try one of these days, because that's basically Communist China in this. But League of Eight Provinces. Whenever I decide to do a China game, I'm always just like, League of Eight Provinces? League of Eight Provinces. They're like choosing whether to play the Netherlands or not. There is only one answer, and that answer is only ever yes. Am I going to play the new RimWorld update? Haven't decided. One of these days I need to go back to it. In fact, the thing I need to do before RimWorld is chase up Going Medieval, because I really want to try that. But the developers just haven't got back to me. So I think I just need to send another chaser email and say, hey, guys! Like, what does the new update actually do? I know basically nothing about it. It was a bit of a stealth release. Kind of like Royalty, to be honest. So yeah, it does kind of look like this is just one giant stalemate at this point. Xinjiang Clique, are you getting support from anyone? No. Kumul Khanate? No. And otherwise, no other civil wars. Let's just do our usual checking of the focuses. So Germany's doing Aftermath, Industrial Veteran Program, so you're still doing Industry, 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 Industry. Everyone's just going to be doing Industry still. Dissolve the Rada, that's a political one. Yeah, okay, so Ukraine is starting to do political stuff. Industry, Industry. Oh, okay. Ireland's doing some interesting things. I like Ireland. Imperial Conference. Yeah, okay, so you're working on C7. So why did you go down the Air Force? You literally just did expand the Air Force just for the air experience? Really? Which you haven't even used. Okay. And then we have got USA, War Department expansion. Just need to see what that does. Oh, that just opens up their military things, fair enough. It's just in the lead up to the Civil War. Brazil, I don't think I've actually checked you. General Staff. You're probably going for the doctrine buffs. Would be my guess. Japan. Is naval and air stuff. Yeah, so you're working on naval. You're actually doing a lot of army things. You've not done any of your political. Where's your industry? Oh, down here. Interesting, so they're just going full military at this point. So is Fentien. Yeah, I think so. Don't think you've done a Mongolia game. I did when the Mad Baron was in charge. I haven't done it since because they're just not as interesting anymore. Going medieval's at a pretty early stage in development. There's so much promise in it. Yeah, I know. I was watching Quill 18 play through it, and I was just like, I always played RimWorld modded to make it medieval. So the fact that there is basically a fully medieval, intentionally so RimWorld really appeals to me. Because my favourite thing to do in RimWorld was start everyone at tribal or Neolithic technology, but have the tech expansion thing enabled, where as you go through the ages, getting the other technologies of that age would become quicker. So you could actually progress through time rather than as the tribals where you basically just don't. Ordinarily. So once you've got all of the Neolithic techs, then the medieval techs become cheaper. Once you've got all the medieval techs, the industrial techs get cheaper. That's what I mean. So you can actually have this kind of progression through time. The only problem with that is the AI factions don't follow the same rules. So you'll often be like, yeah, I'm Neolithic and they're attacking me with machine guns. He gets an advisor as well, so his Canadian Air Volunteers get a fighter bonus. Ah. And who has Canada sent volunteers to? No one. Is there a way of seeing from Canada's perspective who they've sent volunteers to? Yeah, see, they've not actually sent any volunteers to anyone. Maybe they're getting ready for the Indian Civil War? Which I guess would see a bit more in it this time around. Because India and Afghanistan have already fought and they got the White Peace. Has anyone got involved in the Saudi conflict? I'm going to guess no. It's usually over too quickly. The big one is the Chinese one at the moment. Air focus saves him 150 political power for the air advisor, so if he's sending volunteers, he saved himself political power. Okay. He hasn't yet, though. Chief of the Air Force, so yeah, he did get that already. Just seems really early to have done that. You can still get the Mad Baron, yeah, but it's a lot more difficult now. But I really... like, some of the new Kaiserreich changes, I'm going to admit, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, Mongolia was one of them. Russia, I understand that's part of a wider Russia rework, so give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. But then some of the changes I absolutely adore, like the Chinese Civil War stuff is amazing. Like, just so much effort has gone into this, and it makes the game super dynamic, depending on which factions win. And then also the symbiotic relationship between League of Eight Provinces and German East Asia is one of my favourite things in a grand strategy game recently. I don't think I can give much higher praise than that. So I'm curious. The biggest thing, though, is going to be Austria. I want to see what's going to happen to Austria and the Balkans. Is that planned in the next rework, or is the next rework just India? Is a medieval RimWorld just Dwarf Fortress? Yeah, I mean, Dwarf Fortress, I'm still waiting for the Steam graphics release, because I really don't like playing ASCI games. They just don't interest me. You can't resurrect the Mongol Empire anymore with Sternberg anymore. No. That was actually quite funny when I was working on the Kickstarter for Starium in Michigan. The road that I was staying on was called Sternberg Road. And like every time I saw the road sign, I just started giggling to myself. Roman Ungarn von Sternberg. Air volunteers don't show, do they, or can you just send up planes and troops independently? You can't send them independently. So if you send volunteers, you can just choose not to send any divisions, but you would still have volunteers accepted, I think. Maybe you do have to send divisions, but I guess they would just sit there doing nothing. But I can tell from the air experience just not changing that Canada has no air volunteers out at all. Huzzah! And Germany's Asia is actually seemingly doing okay. They've actually brought all of their troops down. Oh, there are volunteers. Sweden's here. Okay. And we haven't seen any of the stupid naval invasions this time around. So you're getting volunteers from Union of Britain. Flag's changed. Common of France, Ireland, Spain and Italy, whereas you are getting support from Austria and Sweden. So this is actually turning into a bigger conflict than basically it ever does. Interesting. Boom! Subbed! Lord Greystroke, thank you very much for the 23-month resubscription. Very much appreciate that. You were just one month away from the 2-year Orange Wings. And of course, Orange Wings are superior wings. Best new Kaiserreich rework is re-implementing resources being upgraded with infrastructure. I used to run mods that allowed me to do that anyway. But yes, I fully agree. I was so happy when Vanilla made that change, and then so disappointed when Kaiserreich went, nah. Next big thing will likely be Russia. India was put on pause, so the people working on it moved over to Russia. Austria-Hungary is slowly moving forwards. Gotcha. I mean, if I was more actively involved with the project, I would probably say that Austria-Hungary feels more important because these focus trees, they're just generic. Like every other focus tree in the game has stuff going for it. Okay, granted Serbia has. But like Illyria is generic. Hungary is generic. Like that's the crime, Hungary being generic. Bohemia, generic. Galicia, generic. Like at least Russia has a placeholder. Who are the teams, Vol and Stalin? You can find that out by typing in !KR teams. And then you will see what they are. But yeah, I am glad that Russia is getting more work. Is Transamur changing in any way? Because I've tried a few Transamur games, and I feel like Transamur should be a nation that I really, really like. I just didn't gel with them, though. Like the deal with the devil, that you're basically trying to get Japanese support to take down the Russian Republic, and it's very much the underdog kind of story. Transamur was fun, especially if there was a proper Russian civil war, when Transamur would actually stand a chance against, you know, this, as it currently stands. Germany's Asia is using Rommel. Yeah, that's one of the things. So after Germany's success in the wrong side. After the German success in the First World War, Rommel was seen as a little bit too experimental, and so was relegated to the German East Asia, basically exiled to German East Asia. But when German East Asia flares up, they have an excellent general to lead them, so it's kind of cool. All of this for Indochina. This is worth fighting for Germany, because German East Asia has a really big fleet, and holding on to the Vietnamese part of it means that they'll actually have manpower. If they lose that, then German East Asia is basically knocked out because they just have no manpower. I mean, it's low enough as it is, and it doesn't ever really get better than this. But at least with Vietnam, they have some manpower, because German East Asia can get the absolute best troops in the game. Like, they are absolutely redonkulous how strong they are. But manpower is forever going to be the problem. Like, when I played my German East Asia game, I started actually disbanding some of my largest ships just so I could get the manpower back from them. So some of the really old capital ships I would just disband so I could get the troops back. Where is that focus? Where are my Prussian Space Marines? I know they're here somewhere. Or have these changed? Marine Corps. Marine Corps. Arms from Berlin. Artillery. Further support. I feel like this has changed. Fiscal austerity, but that's not where it leads to. Admiralty. Isn't there like Prussian background or something like that? German advisors. Am I just blind? Special Forces capacity, request arms. I feel like this is new. Transimir will exist, but not in that form. Gotcha. Transimir will break off from Russia during the Russian remake and not start on the map. I mean, that makes sense. Sometimes a second Russian Civil War happened in my latest game a few days ago. Of this version or of the in-dev version? Because I would very much like to see a Russian Civil War. I think that is the thing that's missing. Russia's too strong as they are. If you're curious about Transimir and Russia, you should probably read the recent Russian progress report when you find the time. Flamefan, can you post that in chat? Then I will take a look between sessions. Germany can take the fleet with a decision. Yeah. Stronger than the Baltic troops? Yeah. But I'm not seeing the focus anymore. I think that may have been changed. Because it used to be that you could basically say, we're going to have no manpower. I think it's been switched out with supporting the Grand Fleet. Are Space Marines allowed in this 20? Yeah, absolutely. GEA's military path got reworked as well. Okay. I mean, I actually kind of prefer this because it always felt a little bit weird that they were getting these absolute beasts of land forces. Like, they had the absolute best special forces, and that remains true. I see that they still have capacity modifiers. But it was at a cost of manpower, and basically, the more beastly you made your troops, the less recruitment factor you had. But you would have these absolute beasts that you could send as volunteers, and you had like a plus 10 volunteer limit, led by Rommel, and you could just go and jump into any of... Ooh, Kuomintang's actually winning here. They pushed all the way to Nanjing. Wow. Okay, so some progress coming in. Why is that? It's not a manpower issue. Hello, switching. There we go. Oh, because I think this was core Anqing territory. Well, Anqing has a lot more manpower still in its side, but I don't know how the equipment limits are looking on either side. The Space Marines there for the Baltic, it was changed. Okay. It's so weird having this 2-minute difference, because I'm like, where is it? Where is it? I can't see it. Where is it? Then 2 minutes later you're all like, hey, it's changed. It's not there anymore. It's gone. To be fair, almost always nation remakes end up being more dynamic and fun in comparison to previous forms. I mean, that's kind of the point of the remakes, so I would very much hope so. Commentator gets hung up on the lack of Space Marines and forgets about the tourney. Well, I mean, there is just this one fight which was a giant stalemate and has kind of descended to being a giant stalemate again, going on at the moment. So there's not a huge amount to... Ooh, they're across the river to talk about at the moment. But yeah, Left Komintang is actually pushing Anqing back. So this is going to mean that Left Komintang is actually going to be quite a strong buffer against Vientiane. Now, this kind of thing did happen last time, where League of Eight Provinces won this civil war, and then Reichspakt just abandoned them to their fate when Vientiane came knocking. I kind of hope that doesn't happen again here, because you could really cause some damage to Kopro by just holding them up in China for as long as you're able to send volunteers. And it wasn't like a war broke out that stopped the volunteers, they just didn't send them. Still want a proper independent New Zealand and Kaiserreich. You can do that. Play as Australasia and go communist. And the whole thing just explodes. And then you just play as New Zealand. And actually, that's probably one of my hidden most fun games. Co-Pro Australasia is really good. Because you have to deal with an early war of basically vengeance against the Entente. As the Entente tried to keep Australasia together and not communist. And then you're basically becoming the Far East naval arm, and you're completely isolated from any of your allies over in Europe, and you're basically fighting alone against the Entente and against Kopro. Hello.
Do you want to have an open door policy this year? Like, because a team member wanted to talk to you about something.
Right. Generally, yeah, it's fine as long as they don't just hang out here and chat, because that really makes things difficult.
Yeah, that's happened a few times. I'll keep an eye out for it and get rid of them if that's...
I think this policy is probably okay. You basically say, hey, they want to have a chat. Then I say okay, and then you bring them in and then kick them out again if things get long.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So that was the 1-2, who is the admin for our game. And we are going to have a chat with somebody in just a moment. And I will... stay tuned and see who it is. I have to make sure they introduce themselves as well so I know who they're playing as. Rivalnator, thank you very much for the Prime subscription. Very much appreciate the support there, thank you. And Lord Greystroke coming in with a 23-month... Did I say that one already? No, I didn't. Because there was another 23-monther. Thank you very much for the 23-month resubscription. Very much appreciate that. You're just 1 month away from the Orange Wings. Boom. Subbed. Bulldmaster coming in with an 11-month resubscription. You're just 1 month away from the Golden Wings. More just like a football commentator in a Paradox game, and I like that. Yeah, it's an interesting system, isn't it? And then Raiden Aiden coming in with a 16-month resub. Thank you very much for that, Raiden Aiden. Empress of France, hello.
I am come from the east as the messenger of the Kopro. We wanted to tell you that some interesting diplo has gone on behind the background, and the Reichspakt has graciously allowed Russia into the legation cities.
Interesting. To what end?
The Kopro may have possibly given industry over to the Reichspakt in exchange for them helping Russia out into getting their seat in the council again.
Because I did also notice Reichspakt volunteers fighting for Anqing against Left Komintang as well.
It's actually pro-Qing. And that's probably why, but also there was a whole bug where if you click over at me, I still have regional resentment, which I'm not supposed to have anymore.
Oh, I see.
So there was that's why I'm manually justifying Anqing as well. Just wanted to clarify that.
Fair enough.
So I just wanted to talk about the interesting diplo going on. So have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.